Good morning, everyone. Still, we have 10 participants, so we will wait for 1 or 2 more minutes. Okay, so welcome everyone in the session of BEEE. In the previous lecture, we have completed different types of clampers, and then we have discussed the special purpose diode. So you can see the highlighted blue color that we have completed, like Zener diode, LED, photodiode, laser diode, tunnel diode, and Schottky diode. This all we have completed. Now, in this, we know Zener diode basically operates in reverse bias condition. Similarly, if we look at photodiode, okay, see, Zener diode is operated in reverse bias condition. Then LED generally used in forward bias condition. So you can see here the terminals are connected, P with positive and N with negative. Then if we look at photodiode, then this is the diode is again, it is connected with, it is operated in reverse bias condition. Photodiode also operates in reverse bias condition. So P is connected with negative and N of the diode is connected with negative, sorry, positive. And you require some photon, means you have to apply the light on the junction in order to operate it. Then we have discussed about the laser diode as well. Okay, the full form of laser is light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Okay, it's also have PIN structure. So in between P and N we have one intrinsic layer which is also made up of N-type material. Along with this, we have seen PI characteristic of laser. Then we have discussed the tunnel diode, which is actually heavily doped diode, just like Zener diode. Okay, Zener diode is also heavily doped, but it is operating in forward bias condition. And one more thing, that it shows the negative resistance. So in the characteristic we have seen this portion. Initially we have tunneling current, then we have negative resistance region, and then after we have the conventional diode current. Okay, here you can see the tunneling current, then negative resistance region, and then conventional diode current. And then we have discussed the Schottky diode as well. And here I told you that uh, if you just compare Schottky diode with PN junction diode, this is the difference. The junction is made up with metal and N-type material, but not with PN N-type. Junction is made up with metal and N-type materials. So majority charge carrier on both the sides are electron only. If you see the majority charge carriers, then on both the sides it's electron only, right? Today we will discuss the remaining diodes. So let us start with the varactor diode first. So varactor diode, the diode just a minute. Diode whose internal capacitance varies with the variation of reverse voltage. Such type diode is known as varactor diode. So first thing, that its internal capacitance is going to vary with the variation of reverse voltage. Okay, so you must have the characteristic that will show you the relation in between voltage and capacitor. So it's used for storing the charge. The varactor diode always works in the reverse bias. So this is one more diode that is going to work in reverse bias condition. Okay, Zener diode, photodiode, and then varactor diode. It's voltage dependent semiconductor device. So voltage dependent device means output of diode depends on their input voltage. Output of diode depends on the input voltage. So the varactor diode is used in place where variable capacitance is required, and that capacitance is controlled with the help of voltage. Okay, so varactor diode is also known as, sometimes it is known as varicap, volt cap, voltage variable capacitance, or tuning diode, right? These are the different names of the varactor diode. If you look at the symbol, you can see it's a combination of means if you see this portion, it will the sign of capacitor, okay, and rest the common for the diode. So you can see the symbol, it is along with capacitor. So what it means, symbol is similar to the PN junction diode, but has two terminals, namely anode and cathode. But here the difference is these two parallel lines, right? That is represented the capacitor, which is uh, connected across the, this capacitor is one end of symbol consists of diode and other has two parallel lines for the capacitor, and in between this space you can see that is dielectric material, right? Dielectric material. So it's a parallel plate capacitor. Working of varactor diode. The varactor diode is made up of N-type and P-type. The varactor diode is made up of N-type and P-type semiconductor material. In an N-type semiconductor material, the electrons are majority charge carrier, and in P-type, the holes are majority charge carriers, right? When p-type and n-type material are joined together, pn junction is formed. pn junction is formed. Okay, and the depletion region is created at the pn junction. The positive and negative ions make the depletion region, and this region blocks the current to enter from PN region at equilibrium condition. So this is uh, the same process that we have studied in the PN junction diode, right? So you can see over here, first of all, varactor diode operates in reverse bias condition, and that's why the negative terminal is connected with the P and positive of the external source is connected with the N. These are the negative ions and these are the holes, right? So you can see by combining both, here one depletion region is created. Okay, so varactor diode operates only in reverse bias because reverse bias the current does not flow. So if diode is connected in forward biasing, then current starts flowing through the diode and the depletion region decreases. So depletion region decrease, then it does not allow the ions to move from one place to other. Okay, so varactor diode is used for storing the charge, not for flowing the charge, right? And if you make it forward bias, then definitely it will allow the current. So flow of charge is there, not store of charge. So total charge stored in the diode becomes zero in the forward bias condition, and that condition is not desirable. And that's why the varactor diode always operates in reverse bias condition, because the main function of the diode is to store the charge. Next is characteristic of varactor diode. So initially I told you that we must have the relation in between voltage and capacitor, and that you can see over here. The characteristic of varactor diode is in between capacitor versus voltage. So characteristic curve of varactor diode shows that when reverse bias voltage increase, the depletion region increase and the capacitance of the diode reduces. With the increase in reverse bias, definitely the depletion width is increased, and as per characteristic, you can see as you are moving on this direction, the capacitor is going to reduce. Okay. Next. Next is PIN, pin diode. So diode in which the intrinsic layer of high resistivity is sandwiched between P and N. So far we have P and N both are connected and it forms one junction, but right now here is your P, here N, and in between these two we have one intrinsic region. Okay, in between these two we have intrinsic region. So that is the structure of pin diode, PIN. A high resistive layer of intrinsic region provides large electric field between P and N region. Again, high resistive layer of intrinsic region provides large electric field between P and N region. The electric field induces because of movement of holes and electrons. Okay, the direction of field is from N region to P region, right? So here, if you see, if I draw it, this is P, this is N, this is I. The intensity is from N to P. It's a usual direction because from negative charges is going to is try to go into the P region, right? And try to occupy the hole. And that's why when negative ion moving on this direction, so it will create negative plus positive polarity like this. And so that the intensity direction you will get is from N to P. The high electric field generates a large electron hole pairs due to which diode process even for small signal. So pin diode is type of photodetector which is used for converting light energy into electrical energy. The intrinsic layer between P and N type regions increases the distance between them. So width of region is inversely proportional to their capacitance. If separation between P and N region increases, if separation between P and N region increases, their capacitance decreases. And this characteristic of diode increases their response time and makes diode suitable for works like microwave applications. So let us see the structure of pin diode and symbol of the pin diode. So as you can see the name of diode PIN. So definitely it has three layers: P type, N type, and one intrinsic layer. Okay, so here you can see it's a P type, then intrinsic layer, and then N type layer. This layer is having high resistivity. Symbol you can see just like PN junction diode. The only difference is the line is passing inside of this triangle. Normally for PN junction diode, the symbol will look like this, but if you pass this line through this, it will be pin diode. The working principle of pin diode is exactly same as normal diode. The main difference is that the depletion region becomes depletion region. Okay, that is the main difference, because that normally exists between both P and N regions in reverse bias or unbiased condition is larger. So in any PN junction diode, the P region contains holes as it has been doped to make sure that it has majority of the holes. Likewise, Okay, sorry for interruption, everyone, because of network connection. Yes, so we are talking about the P and N type region, that in P majority charge carriers contains holes, and on the other side it was electron. So layer between P and N region includes no charge carrier, as any electrons or holes merge, as the depletion region of diode has no charge carrier. It works as an insulator. So depletion region exists within PIN diode. But if PIN diode is forward biased, then carriers come into the depletion region, and as two carriers types together, again flow of current will start. So when PIN diode is connected in forward bias condition, charge carriers are very much higher than the level of intrinsic carriers attention. And due to this, the electric field and high level injection extends deeply into the region. This electric field assists in speeding up moving of charge carriers from P to N region, and which consequences in quicker operation of PIN diode, making it appropriate device for high frequency operations. Okay. Okay, so this is about symbol and structure of PIN diode. Also, we have seen the working. Now next we have two main diodes now remaining, that is step recovery diode and 7-segment display. So let us try to complete it. Step recovery diode. Step recovery diode is a semiconductor device with unusual doping. The main difference or main thing that we have to note down in step recovery diode is what? Unusual doping. What it means? It is also a voltage dependent variable capacitor, just like our varactor diode. In varactor diode also, if you see, it's a voltage dependent. Okay. So here you can see it's a voltage dependent device, right? Similarly, the step recovery diode is also voltage dependent variable capacitor. The doping density is extremely small near the junction area. That means if you come from P to junction or from N side to junction, okay, the doping density is reducing, and that's why we can say it's unusual doping in step recovery diode, due to which charge storage is negligible near the junction. Charge storage is negligible near the junction, and this leads to fast switching of the diode from on state to off state, because we know diode in reverse bias condition acting as open circuit, and in forward bias condition is acting as on state or short circuit, right? Closed switch, like we can say. That means during it has to, what we can say, it has to turns the state from on to off or off to on, and it will take some time. But in conventional diode, this time delay is more. Okay, if diode has to come on state or off state, then it will take more time. But here, as due to unusual doping, we can say its doping density is very less near the junction, and that's why it leads to fast switching of diode from on to off or off to on state. It is also used as a charge controlled switch, in which uh, in various applications due to its fast switching at low frequency. Step recovery diode works as an ordinary diode at low frequency, that is, they conduct when forward bias and acts as open circuit in reverse bias, right? But when it is switched from forward bias to reverse bias or from reverse bias to forward bias, the state is going to change instantly. Okay, so time delay is very less. You can see the symbol of step recovery diode over here. A slight change in the symbol, and that is this part. If you compare it with the normal PN junction diode. So you can see the symbol carefully. Next is construction of step recovery diode that you can understand from this figure. Okay, so the one point that I told you, that unusual doping, so that you can see over here. First of all, on P side is green area. Right now, if you are over here, okay, then the doping density, you can see it's high. Okay, doping density is high. But as you are coming near the junction, the density is going to be low, low, and as low. Similarly, if you are over here on N type, again doping density is high, but as you are moving towards the junction, the doping density is reduced, and near about junction it is very, very low. So this is the major difference, like doping intensity, the doping profile of step recovery diode. So it's evident from above diagram that doping density decreases at the junction. This lead to decrease in mobile charge carriers at the junction. So this is the requisite effect for achieving fast switching in step recovery diode. Also, the pin structure of SRD, step recovery diode, reduces the switching time because there are few charge carriers near the junction area. Okay, and hence less charge is stored, and as there is less charge in the area, little bit charge can release for more rapidly, and when moving from forward to reverse bias than if higher levels were stored. So further advantage of the forward current can also be established more rapidly than ordinary junction diode. Forward current can be established more rapidly as compared to the ordinary diode. Okay. Next is working of step recovery. Working of step recovery diode. So it behaves as a typical diode at low frequencies. Initially, this diode offers very low impedance, about 1 ohm, but gradually its impedance start increasing due to charge storage at the junction. So now when the negative cycle is applied, then the charge carriers take time to completely drain off from the junction or snap off from the junction, and thus small amount of current is observed at the beginning of negative input. Small amount of junction current is observed at the beginning of negative input cycle. The switching time is very small in step recovery diode, and that is about few nanoseconds. This imparts the ability to generate very sharp pulses which play a significant role in wave shaping circuits. So this is one of the application of step recovery diode, that you can create wave shaping circuit by using such diode. Okay, here you can see the advantages and disadvantages of step recovery. So we have first 4 advantages are there, and the last one is the disadvantage. Okay, so first advantage is more forward current. More forward current. It generates forward current more rapidly than a conventional diode. It generates forward current more rapidly than conventional diode. Fast switching time. So many times I told you. Switching time required is low, which leads to rapid response. Sharp harmonics. It has the ability to generate very sharp pulses, which are significant for pulse generator. In power electronics applications, this is very important. Highly efficient. This diode has high efficiency. This diode has high efficiency. Okay. But the disadvantage of this is it is not suitable. It is not suitable at higher frequencies. It is not suitable at higher frequencies. So disadvantage of diode is that switching speed decreases with the increase in frequency. Switching speed decreases with increase in the frequency, right? Okay, so this is all about step recovery diode. This is all about the step recovery diode. Now next one is 7 segment display. Next is what? 7 segment display, right? So just a minute. Yes, so let us start with 7 segment display. So first of all, you have to tell me what do you know about LED? What do you know about LED? If you look at operation of LED, okay, if you look at the operation of LED, then uh, we know it will give you the output in terms of light, output in terms of light or in terms of photon energy, right? So we have to use a certain property of LED in order to design the 7 segment display, in order to design the 7 segment display. Okay, so light emitting diodes have many advantages over traditional bulb. and lamps, with the main one being their small size, long life, various colors, cheapness and readily available, as well as being easy to interface with various other electronic components and digital circuits. Okay, so these are the some advantages that we have to take benefit of this. That first of all, right now we use this for decoration purpose also. It is available in various colors, various size. Okay, particularly small size we can say. Then cheapness, readily available, right? So if you take multiple LEDs, okay, and if you arrange it in such a way that you can create display. So main advantage of light emitting diodes is that because of their small die size, several of them can be connected together within one small and compact package, which producing what is generally called 7-segment display. So here you can see we have 7 segment, and I'm giving the name like this: A, B, C, this is D, E, F, and this one is G. So in this way we have total 7 segment: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The 7-segment display, also written as 7, like this 7-segment display, and consists of 7 LEDs. Okay, and hence the name of this is 7-segment display. It consists 7 LEDs arranged in a rectangular fashion as shown. So each of 7 LED is called segment, because when it is illuminated, when it is illuminated, the segment forms a part of numeric digit, right? An additional 8 LED is also there, because we have to sometimes we have to show the decimal point as well. So this is the 8 one which is used for decimal point. Okay, this is used for decimal point. So an additional 8 LED is used within the same package, thus allowing the indication of decimal point. When 2 or more 7-segment displays, when 2 or more 7-segment displays are connected together to display number greater than 10. Now how it works? So we know, see here total 7 LEDs are there in rectangular fashion. Now we know the operation of LED, that when it is in forward bias condition it will emit the light, and when it is in reverse bias condition then it will turn off. So you have to just use this operation. Okay, if you want to display 2, if you want to display 2, it will look like this. So which LED should be in forward bias? A, B, G, E and D, right? And F and C must be in reverse bias. If you do it like this, it will show you the 2 on the display, right? Each one of 7 LEDs in the display is given a positional segment with one of its connection pins being brought straight out of the rectangular plastic package. These individual LED pins are labeled from A to G, representing each individual LED. Okay, A to G. Now, the other LED pins are connected together. The other LED pins are connected together to form a common point. So by forward biasing the appropriate pin of LED segment, in particular order. Some segment will be light and other will be dark. So it will allow you the desired character pattern on the number to be generated on display. Okay, this is then allow us to display each of the 10 decimal digit from 0 to 9 on the 7 segment display. Okay, the display's common pin is generally used to identify which type of 7 segment display it is. For example, as each LED has two connecting pins, anode and cathode, so what you have to do, based on the common point, we have two different types of LED. Either it's a common cathode configuration or common anode configuration. Common cathode or common anode. Here you can see both one, common cathode 7 segment display as well as common anode 7 segment display. Now in common cathode display, all cathode connections of LED segments are joined together to logic 0 or ground. Okay, this is the cathode connection and you can see all are connected together and it is grounded. The individual segments are illuminated by application of high or logic 1 via current limiting resistor to forward bias the individual anode terminals in between A to G. So you can connect one resistor in between, okay, that is acting like current limiting resistor, and accordingly you can just forward bias your LED in order to display the digit on this 7 segment display. On the other hand, you can see the difference is what? Here you can see the orientation of LED is reverse than the first one. That means now it's not common cathode configuration, but the another terminal is joined together. So in general, common anode displays are more popular. Okay. Also, you have to take a note that common cathode display is not a direct replacement in circuit for common anode display. Similarly, common anode display is also not the direct replacement of common cathode. Means it's the same as connecting the LEDs in reverse bias, and hence light emission will not take place, right? So depending upon the decimal digit to be displayed, the particular set of LED is forward bias. For instance, if you want to display 0, that means this one should be in reverse bias condition, means your sixth LED must be light up, that is A, B, C, D, E, F. Then only you can see the 0 on the display, right? So here is the truth table. Based on this, you will get the MCQ as well. 7 segment display truth table. You can see if you want to display the 0, then first of all remember the pattern. You have to start A from the top, then come on the clockwise direction, A, B, C, D, E, F, okay, and then G. So now if you want to display the 0, then G should be off in reverse bias, and A, B, C, D, this cross marks shows that it is forward bias or it is on. Similarly, if you want 1, then except B and C all are reverse bias. Okay, except B and C all are reverse bias. So similarly, if you just know the pattern A, B, C, D, E, F, this numbering, you can easily give the answer of this digit, right? Okay, so this is all about 7 segment display. So with this, we have completed all the special purpose diodes. So here you can see in today's session we have completed all these diodes: varactor, pin, step recovery, and 7-segment display. So now you come to the topic of syllabus, and you can see we have covered all the topics. Initially we have started with the normal or conventional PN junction diode, its symbol, construction, then semiconductor device, basic idea of semiconductor materials, right? We have seen forward bias, reverse bias condition of PN junction diode, unbiased condition of PN junction diode, its application like clipper, clamper, rectifier, and switch. In rectifier also we have seen half wave and full wave, all the configurations. Then we have started all special purpose diodes. Okay, so we have completed all this: Zener, LED, photo, laser, 7-segment display, varactor diode, Schottky diode, pin diode, and tunnel, and finally this step recovery diode. Okay, so with this your chapter number 7 is over. So any doubt, anyone? If you don't have any doubt, then let us move on the next chapter, and that is chapter number 9. Chapter number 9 is operational amplifier. Operational amplifier. Okay, so based on operational amplifier, we have to study in chapter number 9. You can see the topics that we have to discuss. We'll start with the introduction of op-amp. The short form of operational amplifier is known as op-amp. Okay. Then we'll see the differential and common mode operation, op-amp basics, practical op-amp circuits, and some application of op-amp like summer, integrator, and differentiator. Okay, so let us start with first of all operational amplifier. So what is the role of operational amplifier? It will perform the operations. It will perform the some operations like subtraction, addition. Okay, because whenever we do not have calculators, right now we have the advanced calculators are available, and that's why all these kind of operations is taking place directly. But when it was not there at the time, this kind of devices can perform integration, differentiation, subtraction, addition type operations. Okay, mathematical operations. So early operational amplifiers were used primarily to perform the mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, integration, differentiation, and hence the term is known as operational. These early devices were constructed with vacuum tubes and work with the high voltages. But today's op-amps are linear integrated circuits, okay, ICs, that is used relatively at low DC voltage and are reliable and inexpensive. Reliable and inexpensive. So op-amp can be represented by using this symbol. Op-amp can be represented by using this symbol. So standard operational amplifier symbol has two input. First is negative and another one is positive. The negative is known as inverting terminal or inverting input. It is non-inverting input, positive one, and one output terminal. Okay, but typical op-amp requires two DC supply voltage, one positive, other one negative. So this is the symbol with DC supply connection. Okay, this side you can say positive and here it is negative. But if only this symbol is given, then only by default you have to consider that it requires plus V and minus V over here. Okay, so usually these DC voltage terminals are left off the schematic symbol for simplicity, but they are always understood to be there. Okay, so remember the symbol of operational amplifier. Then we have ideal op-amp. Ideal op-amp. The ideal op-amp has infinite voltage gain and an infinite input resistance so that it does not load the driving source. Also, it has zero input resistance, zero output resistance, right? Why it is minimum input and maximum input resistance and minimum output resistance. Okay, in order to understand this, let me draw one circuit over here. So this is the input side. Okay, and on this side we have output. Here is the output resistance, and you can take this is your this terminal is grounded. Okay, so if you apply the input voltage from this side, okay, then current is flowing. This is the equivalent circuit of op-amp, we can say. Now on this side you want output, and this is your output resistance, okay, R0, and let us say this is your input resistance, Ri. Out of this total current, if majority current is going in this path, then you will not get your appropriate output because majority of losses is taking place across this resistance. Yes or no? So you have to select the value of this resistance in such a way that it will not allow current through this path, and for that you have to keep it as much as possible, right? Ideally we can say it is infinite. Similarly, on the output side, if this resistance will not allow this current, right? If the value of this resistance is high, then again the high voltage drop will create across this, so that will give you the less output. Ultimately we want amplifying output, right? And that's why you have to keep this resistance minimum in order to avoid the voltage drop. Ideally it should be zero, practically it is maximum, and this is nothing but your AV into V in. Okay, that means it is voltage gain. This is what? Voltage gain. Okay, voltage gain is nothing but the ratio of output voltage to input voltage. I can take AV is output voltage V0 to input voltage V in. output voltage to input voltage ratio. So what it means, if you apply V in input, you will get AV into V in output, and if this AV is nothing but practically, ideally it is infinite, that means my output is amplified, the output value is more, right? So this is what the ideal op amp, its equivalent circuit. Let us keep up to this. Next time we will start the practical op amp circuit. We will see its block diagram and characteristic as well. Okay. Okay. So in today's session, we have completed chapter number 7, the 4 topics: 7 segment display, varactor diode, then step recovery diode, okay, and pin diode. Also, we have started chapter number 9. Chapter number 9, right? This is operational amplifier. Just we have started basic. Next time we will see in detail. So repeat again, why is it 0? Output resistance. See, if current can pass through this, okay, and if it is high resistance, then voltage drop is across the resistance is what? I into R. If your resistance value is more, then this voltage drop is more, and if majority of voltage will drop across this resistance, then output is reduced. That is not desirable condition. So you have to keep low resistance on the output side in order to reduce this voltage drop across the resistance, and as the voltage drop across resistance is reduced, you will get maximum output. Got it? Yes or no? Okay, fine. Any other doubt, anyone? See, mid-semester two syllabus is already shared in the Google Classroom as well as in your WhatsApp group. So you can go through that. You can find the mid-semester, Google Form link into the chat box. Yeah, definitely I will share this PPT in Google Classroom. Kindly submit your response into the into the Google Form link, and once you will submit it, you can leave this session. Okay, everyone. Thank you for attending this session. Those who have still not submitted the response, they can complete it because still I'm getting 29 responses only. Because I'm going to end the meeting for all. Thank you for attending this session.